Hi, this is Black Krishna or BK from manfowars.com, where I'm promoting polite patriotism to help nice ladies and gents look, talk, and feel great and teach kids to, and to beat online censorship, to help people locally discuss and share great online info offline as better people making better people and places to live. So it's been done before, it can be done again, and certainly there's a way for the online and offline info war to complement each other. So see manfowars.com for more on that. And on that, this video is called Dave Rubin on sketchy liars and professional lying bitches making more unless we expose them. Dave Rubin on sketchy liars and professional lying bitches making more unless we expose them. Now, Dave Rubin is the host of the Rubin Report, and it's a good show. It's got some good production quality. He's a good interviewer. He's a comic. He's a self-respecting gay guy who respects others and who can be respected, and seems like a good guy. You know, he may not go far enough in some of his analysis for some of the more red-pilled folks, but he's certainly valuable, and he can connect with people that people who go a lot further certainly can't connect with. And in this case, I was working out I guess a couple of days ago or whatever, and I wanted something to watch, and I looked up my BitChute subscriptions, and this popped up there, and I thought, meh, haven't seen Dave in a while, and this seems like it might be interesting. Dave talking with a former CIA agent. I mean, typically they say if you're a company man, you never really leave the company. But whatever, the guy says he's a former CIA agent, and it might be interesting, and it's related to his experience and what's going on in Iran and foreign policy, and it'll give me sort of a mainstream understanding, which is valuable in the sense that a lot of those people are actually deciding policy. Whereas if you go with a more deeper level of understanding, you can see why they're deciding that policy. It's sort of like the Alex Jones line. People will talk about globalism. Oh, we got to fight globalism. We got to be nationalist. Oh, it's globalism. But then they won't talk about what globalism actually is. And that's where you get to the Alex Jones line, where he'll go, globalists, eugenicists, my God, this is the old royal families, the central banking mafia, printing money from nothing, want to control the whole world. My God, this is crazy. They're vaccinating babies with poison every single day. Not saying vaccines couldn't work, but you could take a little cobra venom and maybe it could protect you from a cobra bite, or they could give you too much and they could sicken or kill you. Or they could put something else in there and say they're doing it to help you, but in fact, it'll sicken and kill you. Oh my God, right? So that's the Alex Jones line in terms of everybody understands what globalism is in the general sense, in the sense we want to be nationalists, control our own country. Globalists want more international structures, UN, and so on to control things. But really, you don't get into who they are, how they got into power, what they're really like, and they're a bunch of satanic pedophiles, you know, and there's a bunch of evidence that he provides as well. So that's why I looked at the Rubin report, and I thought I'd share that just to say, well, it's not just about these people are bad because they don't say this, and these people are good because they do, and so on. There's a spectrum of information out there for people to digest from. But with respect to polite patriotism, it's important, you know, to understand what's happening to people. Why are there millions of people online that can communicate furiously? Why do people love vlogs like this and so on? A lot of it is because people aren't acting nice enough to talk. Formerly world famous, nice, polite Canadians and Americans, Europeans, and others are being attacked with social constipation, political correctness, trouble talking, what to say, what to do, don't want to get in trouble, don't want to have to get in trouble with you, and gender neutralization. Don't act like a man anymore, don't act like gentlemen with other gentlemen, respect each other, and ladies with confident masculine strength, meeting and confirming the same, and creating a safe space for confident feminine vulnerability. So when people don't act like they respect each other, it's hard for them to talk, because if you don't respect each other, how can you really talk? Why would you pay attention to and listen to each other or feel like it? So that's causing problems. And on that, I'm going to show you a couple of examples from the Dave Rubin show of how Dave Rubin and his guest, CIA agent or former CIA agent Brian Dean Wright, talking about the deep state and so on, how they talk about how this is happening, and we can tell this is happening. And with the examples they talk about, you can say, okay, so these are examples that they're talking about when it comes to high-level politicians and senior members of the media or powerful members of the media, right? But the exact same ideas can also be reflected in the general population because the actions of high-level politicians and major media tend to influence all of us, right? You may not pay attention to it. However, if the actions of high-level politicians and media brainwashing and so on influences people around you, those people will eventually influence you, and unless patriots influence them back and locally kind of make sure people respect each other and can communicate well offline where they live, then you'll be overwhelmed, right? So you can go online, you can put up flag emojis, you can share memes with people, you can talk about what a mess things are, but then offline, you can't communicate well about it with people, even if half the people where you live know, because of exactly what I'm about to show you. All right, so on that note, we'll take a look here. And I saw this on BitChute, and I'll put a link to this below. But I'll use my YouTube app right now because it's a little easier to manipulate for making videos like this purposes. And so this is the video, ex-CIA, Iran's next move and exposing the deep state, Brian Dean Wright, politics, Rubin report. There is the video. And what I'll do is I'll play you from 27 minutes and 26 seconds. I'll play you about 30 seconds of this video, and then I'll stop it and I'll explain the key point that we're supposed to notice from this little example.
John Brennan was gone, and now he's under criminal investigation by AG Barr.
So that was my next question. So how nervous should Clapper and Brennan and Comey be? I mean, Clapper is the guy who lied under oath when they asked him about are we doing mass surveillance on people, our own citizens, and what was it, not wittingly, that he said, as he was scratching the top of his head. Would you ever see that episode of Seinfeld? When you're lying, the higher up on your face that you scratch tells you if it's a big lie or not. I mean, he's literally going, not wittingly.
And oddly enough, his nose starts growing.
But then becomes like a CNN analyst on this and suffers no ramifications.
So that's the key part. That's the sketchy liar's key part that I'm trying to share here, right? Where he says that former CIA director John Brennan was testifying before the U.S. Congress, and they said, "All right, CIA, are you spying on everybody?" And he went, No, not wittingly. We try and collect information, and maybe sometimes we might pick up a little bit of spying here and there, and he's literally acting sketchy, which proves that he's lying. It's lying body language, right? And there's also the wiping your nose, lying body language. The touching your face, lying body language. The trying to distract from what you're saying is lying body language. And that has been normalized offline, especially in liberal cities like Toronto, Canada, where I've got tons of video evidence over the last few years, and I've been working on this getting worse for a few years before that as well. So you can see the history section at manforwars.com for exactly what happened. But basically, regular straight guys got brainwashed into not talking and wanting people to look at them instead. But with nothing to look at and no one to look, right? It's just normal straight guy. So you can't walk slow, look cool, and try and feel hot and get attention or relax more and be graceful like a feminine girl or like some twinky, girly gay guys or some trans guys can do it well. Some can't, and they're just awful to be near as well, right? But some can, in fairness. I've seen it myself, where you get some really skinny, twinky, blonde gay guy, and he's, I hope you're nice to me. It's like, sure, buddy. You're just like a chick that hopes a man's nice to you, right? So no problem. You're relaxing more. I'm supposed to relax more. I'll smile. Don't worry about it. We can be cool with each other, right? But instead, regular straight guys have to get worked up, force you to put up with them, or have to be like, hey, how's it going? Put up with me. Hey, how's it going? I know it's a little uncomfortable. How can I trick or force you to put up with this, right? And so sketchy liars making each other uncomfortable offline and making it normal is what's making it hard for everyone to be nice and look at and talk to each other. And this is the biggest, strongest, baddest ass straight men who, instead of doing what men are supposed to do, which is make sure you're cool, other people are cool, where you are and where you live is cool, to get respect. Whereas girls supposed to put us in a good mood and make babies. And that's it. Those are the core jobs, right? That's basically all you have to do. Everything else is a bonus or a pain in the ass, right? That's all, right? Bonus. Hey, you're funny, you make money, blah, blah, blah. Oh, you got me something. Oh, you want to go watch the Avengers for 2 hours? Fine. Well, as long as we're nice to each other, usually, honey, I'll join you at the Avengers or the baseball game or something I don't like. Or she says, we should go to Bed Bath & Beyond. I want to get a whole bunch of, we got to go to Bed Bath & Beyond for 2 hours. That's okay. As long as we respect each other, put us in a good mood, that's okay. We'll make it fun. Joke around with the salesperson about how frou-frou stuff is, and it'll be cool. Make a game of it, right? But instead, the exact opposite happened, which is big, strong, the biggest, strongest straight guys, when it becomes a competition to get people to look at you, they bullied, other guys. They sexually harassed each other because they don't want to look at each other. When they wouldn't look at each other, they jealously harassed girls, and they try and steal any attention they get. And so the guys that are supposed to make sure that everybody is cool the most, in fact, do the opposite. And they feel guilty and embarrassed and lie and argue and keep trying to bother you. And I've got tons and tons of this on video. I've got tons of it on video silently. I've got tons of it on video explaining it. I've got tons of guys running up to me. Put up with me, loser. Oh, thank you, soldier. Didn't pay attention to that line. Bitch, peggedy broken. So glad you didn't pay attention. That's the best I could do. It didn't bother me. It didn't bother you. Most respect we can show each other. Hope I can stop this one day, right? And they have trouble talking about it. But just that is lying body language, right? Just the whole, yeah, how's it going? Put up with me. Yeah, how's it going? Put up with me. Oh, how's it going? Put up with me. I'll wipe my nose. Look at my toes. Oh, I tricked you. I touched my face. Look at me worked up. Look at my body. Look at my butt. That's all lying body language, right? And that makes it hard for people to respect each other. And so as long as the biggest, strongest, most confident and capable, straight Canadian men and other men, especially Western men in liberal areas, do that, they will bully smaller guys into doing it back. Because what else can you do? You can't really look at it when they know that they're lying and making you uncomfortable and trying to force you to put up with them. You know that if you're on the receiving end of it, so you can't really look at it. So you have to do it back, right? And then girls can't be vulnerable because guys sexually harass each other, don't want to look at each other, and then try and steal any attention girls get. So that if a girl's trying to walk slow, look cool, try and feel hot, and a man can't do that and he's got to rush around forcing people to put up with him, he'll try and steal any attention. Or just yesterday, I was out shopping, buying some stuff, trying to interact with a nice sales girl, and I was trying to be friendly like a gentleman with a nice young lady. And then the guy beside her who works with her at the store, he starts spazzing out, trying to get that, see the way you look at that nice girl? See how you're nice to her? See how you're smiling? Look at me like that, getting worked up, spazzing out, right? And so I had to hold up my newspaper, manforwars.com sign, and it turned it around inside out so that I'm not advertising in the store. And I just held it up like I always do, shielded myself from the spazzing out person, bothering strangers, not explaining why, to want to get embarrassed, argue and lie and deal with more crap, keep my self-respect, don't lose mine, take anybody else's. Classic stuff. Everyone's fine with it. Everybody understands. And I've got tons of proof that people can stop this. The same guys that feel guilty and embarrassed for doing all this stupid stuff to each other and making everyone else do stupid stuff to everyone until everyone's a zombie can also stop it. And that's why I've got manforwars.com. But that's the key, right? Is to make sure, because otherwise guys bully each other into doing it, and then they do that with girls. Hey, I act like a girl too, rude line, bitchy, sketchy girl too, yeah, and then girls have to do it back. It's not like a girl can relax and be attractive and friendly with you when you're doing that to her. And then kids and so on. And then when it comes to people turning into zombies, you can't be nice to zombies, they can't be nice to you, and you can't even be nice near zombies, as I said, when it comes to interacting with that sales girl, because she and I were having a nice little pleasant buying this and gonna go interaction, and I was trying to be friendly, and the guy working beside her at the other cash register was spazzing out, the way you're looking at that nice girl, look at me like that, spazz out, look at me, he's just worked up, spazzing out, and so she can't even be nice and friendly. Right? It's like if she relaxes and is vulnerable and feminine, this guy'll spaz out and she'll get all jittery and messed up. So she has to be all messed up too, right? So so I tie that all into Dave Rubin and him talking about John Brennan because it's an established fact, right? It's not like he mentioned it in the context I'm mentioning it in on his video, in his interview. It was just something he casually said when they were joking about how the former director of the CIA was lying to Congress. And you couldn't just tell by sort of figuring it out later. You could tell while he was saying it, because he was like, no, we don't spy on, not wittingly, we don't spy on people. In the Seinfeld episode, the classic Seinfeld TV show episode he referenced, where the higher up on your head you're scratching or whatever, the more it is you're lying, right? That's happening, all day and all night with people all over Toronto. And as I've seen on YouTube and in other evidence, it's happening, to varying degrees around the world, right? And then people make each other uncomfortable, can't pay attention to each other. You have to do it in self-defense and scare each other away. And then they run around shaking near strangers like poor mentally ill homeless people used to do. And they like being ignored like poor mentally ill homeless people used to do, because then it's not that bad if nobody pays attention. If you're a mess, always making people uncomfortable, they always have to make you uncomfortable. It's a little unpleasant, just like when I was young, and it just used to be one every few months, not one every few seconds. You just politely ignore them, and they're happy being ignored, shaking near people on the street, shaking, spazzing out near people on the subway, shaking in a coffee shop, trying to get warm before they run back out into the cold or rain or snow or sun or whatever to shake near people. And polite Canadians just politely ignored them, right? And it wasn't that bad. If you don't pay attention, that's that, right? So, I say all this to talk about how it's being normalized. But if we don't stop it, then it'll just make it harder and harder and harder for people to respect each other and communicate well offline. Teach kids for kids to respect adults and then want to grow up to be those adults, as opposed to not respecting man for being bad at being man, a man and wanting to switch genders, or a woman, the little girl wants to cut her boobies off because mom sucks at being a girl. She's jittery mess. If men don't get respect, they die. And if women don't relax, they die. And they turn to the Walking Dead, bothering people and making kids bother people too, right? So I think that's child abuse to do that and raise kids to do that. And that's why I want to make that point. And I want to use the Dave Rubin show to give you some mainstream analysis, relatively speaking, of this, right? So it's not just me making it up. I got tons of video, but also you can look. It's just something we all casually know and we understand, and so we shouldn't allow to become normal offline wherever we live, right? So then I'm gonna take you to another part of this video, which is professional lying bitches in the media, right? And these professional lying bitches are the ones who are making more bitches, who make more bitches, who make more bitches, right? And this is sort of the source of this, right? Where you're supposed to be messed up. Whereas a man, you're not supposed to be cool, make sure others are cool, and so on, right? You're supposed to be a mess, right? Over Trump, over this, over that, and so on, right? And it's not a normal reaction, right? Even if you're against Trump, no problem. Just be an informed and empowered person, be able to respect people who respect you, be able to have a conversation with them about what your criticisms are, and be able to convince them of the value of your opinion and bring them on side. Well, no, I don't like Trump, he's a mess. Okay, so what's the problem? Well, I don't like him, billionaire, questionable moral character. I don't like some of these trade deals. I don't like him funding the military. I don't like him, not getting out of wars overseas. I don't like some of his language he uses. You can do that without freaking out, right? And if you're pro-Trump, you can say, no, I like a strong military, peace through strength. I don't mind if he's a straight-talking guy instead of a politician, double-talk robot trying to speak smooth and hide some lies. Yes, I want him out of the Middle East, but I don't want the Middle East to fall apart. I'd rather him have some forces near there to support people rebelling against their corrupt leaders, like what's going on in Iran right now, with a lot of people taking to the streets. And so it's an intelligent conversation. It's not just I'm a mess, you have to put up with me. No, I don't want to do that. How dare you not respect me being a mess? I'm such a mess, and it's the morally right thing to do to be a mess, and that's how you're supposed to act about this. And if you don't put up with it, act like this, then you're mean. That's what they often do, or the protester model, right? I'm going to show you how Dave Rubin knows how professional lying bitches work. Professionals. These are 30, 40, 50, 60-year-old men and women on TV making millions of dollars a year with a great job, and they're getting on TV not like they're intelligent, educated, responsible, ladies and gentlemen who are sharing the news and trying to make other people informed and empowered. They're sharing it like they're such a mess, and you've got to be such a mess. And since we're the people in charge of giving you the news and what you're supposed to do, you have to be a mess too, right? And Dave Rubin exposes how that's actually a tactic they use. It's a tactic they use to make more, right? Maybe they don't even know. Maybe it's just fashionable where they know. But I can say for sure that there are likely people above them giving them that to do. And Hollywood stars too, freaking out and making it fashionable to freak out, right? As opposed to be informed and empowered and inform and empower others until we're all weak because we're all a bunch of freaks and we're easier to control and we can't respect and communicate with each other. So I'm going to show you Dave Rubin talking about when he worked for the liberal independent media, semi-independent media show The Young Turks, and how the Young Turks would act on camera and then how they would act off camera, right? So it starts off with Dave Rubin and former CIA agent Brian Dean Wright talking about Trump's economy, the country's doing good, a lot of national pride, people have more money in their pocket, things are going well. So why freak out? Even if you have some questions, and I do believe that you should always be able to put pressure on the president or the prime minister or the leaders of your country or state or province or city. They're going to get pressure from somewhere, from lobbyists, special interest groups, globalists, and so on. So it's important to not just be a cult of personality. Whatever he says, I like it. It's no, I like him because he's doing the right thing. And we keep promoting the right thing to make sure our leaders do the right thing, not just do whatever they say, not just the cult of, well, as long as they're in charge, I'm supporting them. And if you don't support them, you're scum, right? It's not that simple, right? There's pressures coming from different sources. So even their supporters have to put pressure on them in a positive, constructive way to say, Trump, build that wall, or there'll be all this pressure to stop you from building that wall. Trump, drain the swamp, or there'll be all this pressure from the swamp to stop you from draining the swamp. So it's not quite as simple. But anyway, I'll show you this next clip from the Rubin report where he talks about professional lying bitches he used to work with, and he exposes exactly what they're up to and how they know what they're doing is a big fraud. And it's a fraud they're perpetrating on their viewers, just like many other members of the mainstream and in some cases independent media do. So here's the next clip.
to be even more loud and bombastic and crazy because people were angry, and so they were able to tap into that marketplace, right? So I think that the things that you're seeing in America's media right now are really reflective of a country that's deeply unsettled. It doesn't mean that we don't celebrate the progress here in this country, because economically, I don't think you can make an argument, and you've had people in this program that made it very clear that we are benefiting profoundly from our wonderful economic system, imperfect as it is, our wonderful republic, imperfect as it is. But there's clearly a sickness that is being reflected in our media that is really, at the end of the day, it reflects our own brokenness, our own anger, because we're responding in such a visceral way. We're giving those people ratings.
All right, so let's go to our woe is me beat up lefty guys here for a second. Because as you're saying that, I'm reminded of when I used to be on the Young Turks and I was a big lefty, that I'd be on air with the host and they'd be screaming like crazy people about something. There's no video of me ever screaming about anything like this, but they'd be screaming about something, and then we'd cut to break, and then they'd be completely fine again, like completely fine. Then we'd come back and people are screaming, or crying, or yelling, or pounding their fists, or and I remember thinking, like, this is just all theater to me. Like, this is not theater to me. We're having the same exact conversation right now that we were having before the cameras started and everything else, but we've been sort of primed that everything is sort of theater right now. But it doesn't seem like we can get any of this back. Like, is that now where we're at? Like, that it won't come back. So when I'm talking about with the cup and the ocean, it's like we now need different institutions. I think there's a lot of people trying to hang on to the old institutions. I see this with a lot of my last remaining sane lefty friends. Like, they really want the New York Times will come back, the Democratic Party will come back, but they ain't coming back, guys.
If there's any hope, it's President Trump wins in 2020. and the Democratic
And the
Party.
death blow is so cataclysmic.
It would have to be an overwhelming loss, both the House, the Senate, and the presidency. We would be talking about like 1984 election with Mondale and 88 election with Dukakis. But, let's not forget that stupid tends to be very resilient. And so you're seeing a lot of that coming out of places like New York with Ocasio-Cortez. We're getting a lot of very crazy individuals who are very now powerful within the Democratic Party, absolutely reshaping it. You would need to have a progressive nominated for the 2020 election lose against President Trump.
So they have to have their Corbyn, basically.
Yeah. I mean, I see that as crazy, though,
And there you go. And how they talk about how, it's getting so bad that they need to get their asses kicked badly, in order to snap out of it and wake up. Otherwise, they'll just keep acting like professional lying bitches who make more bitches who make more bitches out of formerly sane and reasonable liberals and leftists who used to be able to respect each other. And I know, I came from the left as well, being born and raised in Toronto, Canada. And I used to be I wasn't a hardcore liberal, but you got to hang out with a bunch, and that's kind of what you know. And yet, I used to debate conservatives. I've since switched. Conservatives try and preserve what works to make people happy. Liberals try and change it when they both respect each other. It's a healthy conversation. But these days, especially over the last few years, the radical left has corrupted liberals to where they can't talk to people they disagree with, and they can't talk to each other, and they just act like a mess, and they make sure everyone else does. And then conservatives you can't even talk to. But I remember joking around with some conservative friends back in the day, and I would be coming at it from a liberal perspective and say, well, what about this? What about that? And the conservative I would talk to, would be, well, what about this and that? And it was a normal, healthy conversation because we weren't doing this. We weren't acting like sketchy liars. No, put up with me. I know I'm sketchy liar, but put up with me. Don't say anything. Don't say anything. That's why I'm doing this, to make sure I push you, bully you into not saying anything, right? And there weren't as many professional lying bitches in the media making more bitches who make more bitches who make more bitches out of the rest of us until we do the same thing. Anyway, so there you have it. I just want to make that clear. I think I've gone over a number of things here that you can probably see where you live. You can probably see. You might be doing this. You might be doing it in self-defense to get along with other people. I know that patriots can stop doing it easier than civilians can because patriots they're not as selfish. Right? You're, by definition, as a patriot, you're thinking about, where you live and the people where you live and the future and your responsibility to making it better with your knowledge base and your abilities. And I've proven this on video with a whole bunch of patriots where a bunch of them were acting, sketchy like that. And I went around and I stopped it and I filmed the whole thing and then I put it on video. And I was like, see, locally connect with, patriots locally connect with each other. You can stop everyone from being a mess, right? And it's a lot easier with them because they have something else in their mind. You can't be like, we need to save this country. This country's going to shit. Rude, lying, sketchy bitch. Put up with me. Yeah, I know it's fashionable. Put up with me. It's like, no, you can't do that and be a patriot. You can't screw up other people and where you live. Yeah, you know what? You're probably right. Right? Whereas someone who's truly, a socially constipated, gender neutralized, selfish, lying, bitchy, sketchy zombie is just like, whatever. I'm always acting silly and bothering people and getting away with it. He, isn't it fun? Ha ha ha. Right? It's a lot harder for the average civilian to stop doing that and stop making other people do that with them and to them than it is for patriots to. So I strongly recommend patriots take it seriously and get that done so that they can help people offline where they live communicate better. And there you have it. So Black Krishna or BK from manforwars.com. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, share, get in touch with questions, answers, interview requests, ways to work together, or financial support. Very, very important. There aren't many people working on these issues. Everybody knows, but people don't want to say because some other bitch will bitch and you have to bitch back, and that's just the way things are going today, right? So, so very, very important for all of that to get done. And check out manforwars.com as well. Otherwise, I do hope this helps, and I'll talk to you soon. Cheers.